Hi, Backwoods Bob here. This is my second video on my hiking staff that I was making. As you can see, it looks way different than it did when I started with it. First thing you notice is I did paint it. I was going to paint it a solid color and then decided that I wanted to do some type of a camo pattern on it. So it's kind of like I guess a loose camouflage, I guess I would call it. I got this paint at I believe at Walmart. It's just like the ultra flat camo paints that you can get there. And after I painted it, I did it with negative stencil method, starting with the lightest color working to the darkest. And when I got done with that, I left it cure for a couple days, and then I went over it with 2 coats of clear coat enamel that'll help protect it and help waterproof it some and everything. So and I did matte finish enamel obviously on this. The first thing I'll show you here is the end of it. What I did, let's see what I can do on here, is if you remember in the first video I had a hole drilled in the end of my handle. Well, I used that as an anchoring point for a 550 cord. And I took and I got actually a whole 50 feet of 550 cord on here, and then made a lanyard for it to put your hand through, so you know when you let go of the stick it don't just fall to the ground. It makes it a little easier to hang on to. Next I have 30 feet of duct tape. Each roll here is about 15 feet. I decided I used this, it's kind of like a real tree type of camo pattern that I found. I didn't want to put regular silver duct tape on here. I was going to go with the Gorilla tape that they had in a camo pattern, but I've never used the Gorilla tape. I've heard that it's good, except in really cold weather where it gets brittle, and I didn't want it to get brittle here in the middle of winter when I want to go try this out. So I just went with what I knew would work on here. So that's the end of the handle there. The actual grip, I didn't do an actual grip on this, not yet. I'm thinking about either doing a paracord grip or possibly even a leather grip on this, but I haven't decided yet. I want to use it a little bit first and find where my hand placement is most comfortable before I go and do that. I'll hike with it here a few times and go from there. Like I said, this is a work in progress. And if I look down here at the other end, you can see I have 24 8-inch zip ties that I fastened just using 2 of the zip ties. I also did a camo pattern. I went ahead and painted those so it matches the hiking staff. And they rest on top of the end of this. From the first video, you notice that I had this white tube on the end. It's actually a drain tube from a sink that I have epoxied on there to help reinforce the end of the stick. And yeah, they fit right on there. And then the end of it here, if I can turn this around without breaking anything, you can see I still have where I had drilled out and epoxied in a threaded bolt in the end of this, and then put the drain pipe over it, and then epoxied a washer over the top of that, so that I have my threaded end here for attachments. And how that's going to work is I found cane tips, the largest cane tip I could find. I believe it's 7/8 inch on the whole of it, and I took a dowel rod and cut a dowel rod and then drilled it out and put in just some threaded stock in there, so it'll go right into the end. Now this isn't finished yet. One, I have to paint it. The other thing is I'm getting some washers to put on here to epoxy on it here to take up space, so where I can really tighten this down. But as you can see, it threads right into the end with no problem at all. And the number of attachments that you could come up with this is, I'm still thinking up stuff on it, on what I can do with this threaded end and all those different attachments I could put in here. I mean, I guess I could even adapt like the aluminum and titanium hiking poles and trekking poles that you get. Some of those even have like tips on them for hiking in snow and ice and stuff. You could probably adapt those to this also. But yeah, that's why there is a space here because I am going to fill that with washers so that I can get a really tight fit on there so I don't bend anything. But that's one of the tips I came up with. Another tip that I'm working on but is not finished yet is I had this, I believe it's a bicycle hook for like in a garage, and I had a piece of a 2x4 and I just screwed it into the end of it, put some threaded stock in the other end. I am going to take and shape this block more to make it easier to put on there, probably make it like a hexagon shape or something. Like I said, it's a work in progress, but this hook could be handy. I don't know, even hang in a bear bag or something possibly. The other thing I want to do is got some type of rubber coating on. I'm going to take the end of this and take that rubber coating off and see if there's any way that I can sharpen the end. It would double as like a gaff hook. Another tip that I am working on for that is a spear point that I want to do for it. And I'll probably do a separate video on the spear point. And when I do that video, I'm going to come up, there's a couple other attachments that I got running through my head that I haven't made yet that I want to work on. And I'll do a separate video on that spear point and some additional attachments. And probably if I do a hand grip on this and everything, and do that in a later video. So there you have it. It's Backwoods Bob's version of a hiking staff. I guess it could be a survival hiking staff. If you make one of these, you know, you can make it however tailor to yourself. I mean, it would be really easy to put some type of a pouch or something on it. You know, carry first aid supplies, even a knife, maybe even fire starter if you wanted. I wanted to keep this fairly simple, mainly with just some cordage, some tape, zip ties, real handy to attach stuff, especially if you're in a hurry. You don't have to tie the rope very quick and easy. So there you have it. That's my hiking staff. Thank you for watching. Please like, please share, subscribe to our channel. And in the words of Teddy Roosevelt, talk softly and carry a big stick.